Hi, how you doing? And welcome back to another video from Average FPL. So we're on about 8 or 9 days away from Fantasy Premier League all kicking off. So I'm just going to give you a bit of an update on my draft team, and I've made a few changes based on some transfers and some team news and player news that have come out. But yeah, first of all, any support on the channel, any likes and subscribes, greatly appreciated. Appreciate any support that we get. And yeah, I was looking on Fantasy League website earlier today, and there's only about 3.5 million players they're actually registered so far. So if that's not you, get yourself on with it. Get that team sorted. This is the time of year where anyone can win it still, and everyone's in their head thinking about, oh, all these players are going to get points. And when we're thinking about our teams, we're not. It's all positive at the moment, isn't it? Because you look at your team and you think, yeah, they're going to score points. They're going to score points. You're not getting players in your team that you don't think are going to score points. Do you know what I mean? So when you're looking at your team, it's really important to be critical. Imagine that it's maybe somebody else's team, and what would you recommend they do? Look at different data, watch some different videos out there, including mine. Maybe if you want to feel better about your team, you could look at a video like this and see my team and pick it apart. But try and get all that information. But that information can only go so far. So what we're looking at today is my updated team here. So there's a couple of players I've kept, like Henderson, Cancelo, Jesus, and there's a few additions as well. The main change I've made is I've taken out Haaland. Um, just some rumblings about his fitness and injuries. There's the Community Shield this weekend. It'd be interesting to see if he plays. But then even if he does play, people will be like, oh, well, he's just getting tested out. And if he doesn't play, it'd be like, oh, well, he's either injured or maybe they're resting him for the Premier League, so he is ready to start in the Premier League. So, it swings and roundabouts really, depending on how you're feeling. My main bit of advice is, limit the number of players in your team that have transferred to the Premier League from a different league. Okay, so for instance, we've got Jesus here in my team, transferred from Man City. He knows the league. Um, he's experienced. He's proven for a good team. But then you've got Undav, come from a different league. Not too sure on how he'll perform. I think a couple of those players are good, but every year I get in players from different leagues, and I'm thinking they're going to hit the ground running. Like your Haaland, there's a few Leeds players like Sinistera, and you think, oh yeah, they'll be good. And then it just takes them that extra bit of time to settle, and by which point the price has gone down. So I was, in my last team, I was really thinking, there's no way I'm not going to have Haaland in my team. There is no way I'm missing out on that. And the closer I get to the deadline, the more I think is maybe I just wait and see, because Haaland's price, I think, he's probably only going to go down. Because he'll be so heavily owned to start the season. The likelihood of anyone that wants to jump on him the first couple of game weeks would surely have already done that in their original team. I think you're more likely him not starting in the first Premier League game, and then everybody panics and he's costing quite a lot of money, taking up a lot of funds, and then everybody gets him out and his price drops down. So if you've got a plan where you could get Haaland in on one or two transfers, I think that's obviously going to be a good idea. I'm not saying don't get him in. Obviously, you would assume he's going to be absolutely class and get loads of points. But I just think those pre-season deadline nerves are starting to hit, and I'm leaning towards personally more of just a wait and see. So what I have got is maybe a bit more of a well-rounded team. I've got a few big hitters in midfield, and I've also brought in Lingard. Now, he signed for Forest on a 1 year contract, and it's a lot of money, but they can afford to pay his wages when there's no transfer fee. He signed on a free. Um, and I know there's loads of different players from loads of different countries having the World Cup, but I think there's maybe quite a bit of mileage in getting in some players who have a World Cup in mind, who want to play. He's gone to a team where he's gonna play. I'm sure if the chance came, he'd love to go to the World Cup again. And I just think it'd be interesting to see if he hits the ground running and gets those points initially. So I think he's worth the risk. Like Undav, I think it's absolutely fine having a couple of risks in your team. I've hopefully balanced it out, and you'll think so as well, with some surefire big hitters in Salah, Son, and De Bruyne. Also with Cancelo, I think they are guaranteed points, as guaranteed as you can get. I've gone quite big on Man City, something that I said I'd stay away from last season. But I just think they are the two players alongside Haaland who you would think are gonna, um, they're gonna get the minutes, okay? And same with Jesus. So rounding off the defence, I've got Ben White, Mings, and Dan Burn, all 4.5 million. I'd like to think Dan Burn would play. Newcastle fixtures look okay to start. And it'd be interesting to see if they continue that late season form from last season. Ben White and Tyrone Mings, all fine there. They'll be solid. Sometimes they'll get clean sheets, sometimes they won't. I've also got Joachim Anderson on the bench, who I could bring in based on fixture rotation. Crystal Palace, very solid team, don't score that many, therefore not too fussed about the attackers, but also didn't concede many last season. Think about 12, 13 clean sheets, which for a mid-table team is pretty awesome. And for a 4.5 million defender, I think you'll bite the hand off for that. Dean Henderson in goal, that's not changed. I just think 4.5 million keeper. Again, wants to go to the World Cup, playing for a team where he's going to play every game, he's going to get lots of opportunities to make saves. I think the upside is definitely a lot greater than the downside, and in being 4.5 million means I could fund elsewhere. Also got Susek on the bench. I know he didn't perform as well in terms of points last season, but he has showed that he can get double figures in a season. Um, Again, quite cheap, so it was quite a facilitator to allow me to get other big hitters in the team. So I'm happy for him to just be second on the bench. West Ham have a good fixture, transfer him in, maybe get a couple of points, maybe 3 points, could get a goal from a set piece as well. I would quite like to get in Mitrovic if possible. So if anyone sees a way where, without decimating my team, I could get in Mitrovic. I just think, he's a record-breaking season in the Championship last year. I know he's probably destined to be one of those players that's too good for Championship and not good enough for Premier League. But if he continues that form, I'm just interested to see how it goes, and I'm more worried probably about missing out on him than I am about Haaland right now because of the lack of ownership on Mitrovic. And whilst Haaland, is so highly owned, if he does score, it's panic stations. I'll just take out someone like De Bruyne and put in Haaland instead after a couple of weeks and fund it that way. So it's not like I've tied myself into anything in particular here that I can't get out of. So yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know any questions that you were maybe concerned with in your own teams, if you're umming and ahhing about different decisions that you could be making. And yeah, thank you very much for listening. I'm sure I'll update this again, definitely on the preview for game week one. I'm going to try and get out a couple more videos as well. But thank you very much for listening. I will see you in the next one.